Hello and welcome to HallowKweeen Part 5 for 2021. I'm Chad Miller and I have received the final aspect of my costume for Trunk or Treat this year, and I'm excited to show it off. But I want to give a little bit of backstory to the character, just in case any of you don't know who the Scarlet Witch is. And so I'm going to begin that right now. So Wanda Maximoff has a twin brother named Pietro, and they live in a fictionalized European nation called Sokovia, and their father sells black market DVDs of American sitcoms. Wanda is fascinated with them, and so she enjoys the time that they get to watch these sitcoms all together as a family. Sokovia is under a sort of war. I don't know the details of it. However, there is a bomb that hits their apartments and kills their parents. And there's a second bomb that hits, and it doesn't go off. And it reads Stark Enterprises. And so it is clearly from Stark Enterprises. Be it probably not Tony Stark at the time, but it is relevant. After the bombing, Pietro and Wanda sort of join a movement to secure Sokovia, and it happens to be that Sokovia is under the guidance of Hydra at the time, and so they are recruited into this movement behind Hydra, and they are subjected to the Mind Stone, which is one of the Infinity Stones, and that gives them enhanced abilities. And Wanda, in the midst of going through this process, discovers that she has further abilities than just what the Mind Stone is giving her. It is made her quite powerful. So in the movie Avengers Age of Ultron, Wanda and Pietro are officially introduced, and they are minions of Ultron, essentially, as well as, well, sort of a now kind of defunct Hydra. But their power set is being used against the Avengers, and at some point in time during the battle, Pietro's killed, and Wanda freaks out. Like, she feels the essence of her twin brother just being depleted, and she kind of goes a little bit berserk, and eventually joins the Avengers in helping to defeat what is left of Ultron and his minions. So in the process of Avengers Age of Ultron, Vision is created out of Jarvis and Ultron's ability to create a synthesoid sort of body that Thor kind of helps bring to life, and we go ahead and allude to Captain America Civil War, where Wanda is basically being kept safe because of some horrendous actions that took place accidentally. So Vision is keeping an eye on her, and they form a bond. And it's really cute, it's really awesome, and eventually they turn against each other, and by the end of the movie, like, the Avengers disassemble entirely, and Wanda and Vision go off onto their own little separate excursion, where we pick up with Avengers Infinity War. At this point, it is determined that Wanda and Vision have a bit of a romance, and as strange as it sounds, being that she's an actual human and he's a synthezoid, he can pass himself off as looking human, and they have a connection through the Mind Stone, which Vision has embedded in his head, and also is the source of Wanda's enhanced powers. So there's definitely a connection there, and they find romance, and things become greatly tragic. So as Thanos is searching for all of the Infinity Stones, he understands that Vision has the Mind Stone in his head, and it comes to a point where Vision is just like, Wanda, you have to take this out of my head. You have to kill me. You have to make sure that Thanos does not get this Mind Stone. And it's painful and it's gut-wrenching, but she does it. And it is so heartbreaking. It is so just tragic. And then when we get to Endgame, we find out that Thanos has the Time Stone, and he reverses time before Wanda can remove the Mind Stone from Vision, and he actually extracts it from Vision's head. And Wanda's grief is just out of control. Just out of control. So this is where we're gonna get into the television show WandaVision, which takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame, and Wanda basically is searching out her dead lover. And it turns out that an organization called SWORD has his body, and obviously without the Mind Stone, and they're taking him apart, and they're studying him and whatnot, and she just wants a proper burial for him. And so she goes there and she sees what's happening, and she's not happy with it, and she eventually breaks through this glass wall and levitates down to his body and puts her hand over where the Mind Stone was on Vision's head, and she realizes that she can't feel him anymore. And once again, grief just takes over her. And she leaves and she goes to this town called Westview, and there is a foundation of a house that has been plotted out by Vision for them to grow old in. And her powers, in all of her grief, just flare out like immense, out of control chaos. And in doing so, she also kind of gives birth to a version of Vision. And he's basically a piece of the Mind Stone that she still has within her and her powers, that she's able to replicate him. And based on her love of American sitcoms, she starts building a life within Westview. She's created this entire hex over this entire town, and is subjecting all of the residents in this town to her will. And it begins in the 1950s with a sort of series based on Dick Van Dyke, and it's uber cute and introduces Wanda and Vision as a couple, and how they're trying to deal with hiding their abilities within Westview. And then we progress into the 1960s, the 70s, where, well, actually at the end of the 1960s, Wanda becomes pregnant. And in the 1970s, she becomes further pregnant. And this is all in a matter of episodes, so it's not like time has passed, it's episodes. And so she ends up giving birth to twins. And Tommy and Billy are their names. And so then it progresses to the 1980s, and the kids have gotten a little bit older, and then we get to the 1990s, and a fake version of Wanda's dead brother shows up, that has ramifications all on its own that I don't want to get into. But she's understanding that the power that she has is starting to consume her a little bit. So then it gets to the 2000s in her series, and there's another player in the game that makes her self-aware and tells Wanda that she is the Scarlet Witch, that she is chaos magic, that there is a book called The Darkhold that foretells basically her destiny. And by the end of the show, she embraces her role as the Scarlet Witch, and therefore also has to destroy everything that she's created in Westview, including her fake Vision, including her children. And that's where we end up. So that is the history of the Scarlet Witch, and I am now going to debut my costume as the Scarlet Witch. It's going to be a little bit, I'm not going to do full on makeup. just because I have to work tomorrow and that stuff is hard to get off and whatnot. So we're gonna take a look at that. We're gonna take a look at the board that has been completed, which you've already seen, but I just kind of want to spotlight it. And then we're going to take a look at the Harry Potter board, or I should say the Hogwarts board, because Derek is not being Harry Potter, he is being a student of Gryffindor. So I'm going to get going on that, and yeah, so we'll take a look and see what this costume looks like. I am so excited. Okay, let's see how this looks in the dark. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now with the lights. Sort of the same effect we had before. There is no glow effect. And well, you can almost kind of see it. Getting ready to film Hogwarts in the dark. Let's see how this works. I'm seeing something, but just not on camera.